Have you ever seen a flock of seabirds flying over the water and you continue to watch them until they're just little specks in the distance? Have you ever wondered, where are these birds going? Where do they nest? Where do they feed? Well, Faroe Islands off the coast of Louisiana attract large numbers of these seabirds. There's relatively low disturbance from people and predators, and it's believed that food is relatively available in the waters that surround these islands. However, with Louisiana experiencing the highest rate of coastal erosion in the U.S., along with the impacts from major disturbances such as oil spills and hurricanes, these coastal island systems are threatened. Seabirds can serve as important indicators of coastal health, and in particular can tell us about the marine food resources in these Gulf waters. One species in particular, the royal tern, nests in great numbers on Louisiana's Faroe Islands, such as the Isle Thurnier Faroe Islands Refuge. Previous studies on royal terns have examined diet, but nothing was really known as to where these birds are getting their food from. So the goal of our study was to identify important feeding areas and to see how far royal terns are traveling to find food. To answer these questions, we deployed GPS loggers during the breeding season, and we found that the majority of our tracked birds preferred these marshy areas to the north of the colony. These marshy areas are really productive, and they harbor a lot of small fish nurseries. In addition, they also targeted offshore areas in which they can follow behind fishing vessels in hopes to catch an easy dinner. We also found that these birds traveled a lot further than we originally expected. In fact, the furthest distance these birds traveled were relatively the same distance between Homa and the tip of Cocodrie. And lastly, these core feeding areas these birds used were relatively large and connected. In fact, the largest core area was roughly 3 times the size of Baton Rouge. This is the first time the royal tern has ever been tracked, not just in the Gulf, but in the world. And it is important to know the status of seabirds in the Gulf to be able to assess the coastal health of Louisiana. Their feeding areas overlap with areas targeted by commercial fisheries, and this whole area is affected by those impacts of coastal erosion, hurricanes, and oil spills. No longer is this a species we can only wonder about as it's flying away. Thank you so much for your time.